over here, a lot of my ancestors are at my feet.
Very healthy, aren't they?
Yep. Good genetics, the ewes are in good order, there's plenty of grass around now that things have warmed up.
Yes.
And we sort of expect really things to take off from here. October's here and so spring. So first decent spring for a while.
It is. And nice to see the team right into it. And
they're an efficient bunch. They don't muck around.
Yeah. They've been doing it for a while.
That's right, they're well experienced.
Yeah. Yes, this is Onuku's fourth dairy and our newest dairy. So we started planning this back in 2010, and but even planned prior to that. Actually, we always knew we were going to do a dairy conversion. So 2010, early 2010, when we started planning this shed and this farm, and it took us 2 years. So 2012, the milking season of 2012 is when we switched the plant on to do its first milking. It gave us the opportunity to, looking ahead in the dairy industry, it gave us an opportunity to look at the new regulations that were going to be coming up and that we were going to be exposed to. So it gave us a chance to automate the plant. It gave us a chance to put in technology from the project automatic drafting system through to in-shed feeding, and even our water usage. We've been able to cut our water usage right back. It's a very efficient dairy shed in that regard and water usage.
Of the farm that are marginal in terms of putting stock on. So we're trying to tick some of the environmental boxes and be sustainable. So what we had to do was come up with something that was that would fit into these smaller marginal areas rather than just retire it. So we thought that maybe the Manuka plantation for oil would tick that box. So 3 years ago we did some research, we've done some trial plantations. We've got 20 hectares put aside as a trial block to see how this goes. So we're at a stage now where 3 years later we've got these Manuka plants here that still need a little work to be done on them. But the idea is that further down the track we can start harvesting the oil, as well as we will get a little bit of honey off these plants. It'll be a low UMF Manuka honey. But the idea, the focus is to have a crack at extracting the oil off it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a bit of quality control to check, to make sure that the traceability and authentication systems are working. We've got the NFC tag and the QR code on our jars that can trace the honey, and not only trace it, but give us a whole lot of information, or give the consumer a whole lot of information before they actually buy the honey. There's a lot of, I mean, everybody's using the QR code, which can be tampered with, but the NFC tag that we're using as well cannot be tampered with. So I'm just checking that to make sure it works. So this tag will give us test results for the particular batch of honey, where it came from, a provenance story, our company story, the UMF test results, and any other information the consumer wants to check before they buy the honey. There are traceability systems out there, but generally you have to go to a website and then try and track it through that. This system actually takes you direct to this particular jar of honey. It can also tell us where this jar is being scanned anywhere in the world when the consumer scans the jar of honey. Each tag has its own number and batch number, so we can recall that particular batch number if we have to as well, so we know where all those batches are. This is a big selling point for us in our markets. I'm not sure if anyone else has got that technology at this stage. Big selling point for us. So that works well. Everything's there.
So if you could just scan one for us. Yep.
So I'm going to go. Okay. So the tags underneath, under the. So that particular batch 170410, 170410 comes up, and then we can go into any of this information. So let's go into the batch details. 170410 tells us when the manufacture date is, best before date, the weight, and it gives us the story about this particular jar of honey. And from there we can go down here and bring up the Analytica test report for this particular jar of honey. And here we go here, that's batch 170140, and the non-peroxide activity, which is the UMF level, is actually 10.5 UMF. So the consumer can actually get this information before they buy the jar of honey.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's be upstanding as we acknowledge Onuku Māori Lands Trust, the winners of Ahu Whenua 2018 Homaira Te Paki Paki.